Hey guys, I'm Emma and welcome back to my channel. If you haven't, please subscribe and like this video if you want to see more types of videos like this. So today I'm gonna be talking all about triggers. Obviously triggers can occur from all different types of trauma, so they can apply to tons of different things. Since I do focus on sexual abuse on my channel, that's what I'm going to be focusing on in this video, but obviously triggers can apply to all types of things, and I think most of what I'm saying will be able to apply to all triggers in general, mostly. Just to talk about what triggers are exactly, a trigger is basically something that causes a reaction or a recall of previous traumatic events or memories. So a trigger could be anything from something you see in a movie, something you see on TV, something you read. It could be an image, it could be a scent, it could be hearing someone's voice, it could be a specific word, it could be a song. There are so many different types of triggers. It all just depends on each person's individual experience and memories. So a trigger can really be anything. That being said as well, a trigger might not necessarily be something scary or be directly connected to your abuse. However, it is just something, for whatever reason, that causes that recall of something to do with your trauma or abuse from the past. So in this video, I'm just gonna talk a little bit in terms of my own experiences with triggers to kind of go a little more in depth about them. I found, and I think it's pretty common, that kind of much sooner after your experience with abuse, you may experience many more triggers, and those triggers might have much larger effects on you, and slowly, as lots of time goes by, you may not be as affected by those triggers and things like that. That's not to say though that at any point you could have a more severe reaction to a trigger. That can happen at any point. That's completely normal and okay. It just depends on everyone's individual experiences and moments. I actually like to think about triggers in terms of a snow globe analogy. So the way that goes is that obviously you have a snow globe and everything inside the snow globe is completely mixed up, floating around. That is your trauma and your thoughts of trauma and maybe triggers, all of that stuff. And then slowly, as the snow globe sits, all of those memories and trauma kind of settle to the bottom, right? So they don't disappear, they're still there with you, but they're controlled, relaxed, settled at the bottom. Then, every once in a while, something like a trigger may occur, and the snow globe gets all shaken up again. And after that happens, you know, slowly it needs that time to settle to the bottom again. And each time that happens, maybe it's slightly easier for it to get all settled to the bottom, but, you know, things get shaken up again, and that's okay. So I love that analogy. A previous therapist told me about that, and I think it's a great way to think about triggers as well, so I wanted to include that. So for me personally, I find now that every day, normally something or a couple things will trigger me to think about some part of my experience, but it doesn't affect my day, if that makes sense. You know, I'll recognize it, but I'm able to just kind of move on with my day and think of it as more just a normal occurrence every day. That said though, obviously there are times where something bigger can trigger me, and then, you know, it can be really difficult to deal with and kind of get past. I remember one of the first kind of very significant triggers that I can remember, and it was simply late at night. This was sooner after my experience. I was on Tumblr and I saw this gif of just a man's hands running down a woman's body. And this GIF, for some reason, caused a huge trigger in my mind. And I remember feeling really freaking out and feeling so helpless and so trapped and suffocated in my experience, like I couldn't escape it. So triggers can cause pretty debilitating reactions, and you know, that's okay. And it's important in that moment to just recognize it and know that it will pass. And obviously some triggers take an hour to get over, some triggers can take a week to get over. It totally depends, and all different ones are okay. I think again what is so important to like emphasize, and what I want to emphasize, is that it's okay to be triggered by things. It's okay to have those reactions. It doesn't mean you're crazy. It doesn't mean that your experience or your trauma is taking over your life. It doesn't, and all of it will pass. It's so important to know that, because I know in the moment there's something very helpless about that feeling, and so I totally know it can feel very suffocating almost, and kind of, you know, what's happening? Why can't I get out of this? You know, so that's really important to note. It will pass and it is okay. It's normal. I think something really helpful can be just talking about it. You know, if you're feeling triggered by something, go to a family member or a partner or a friend or a counselor, someone that you trust, and just tell them what you're experiencing. And I know there's this big kind of thought, well, they won't understand, but you never know. They might, and even if they don't, they will probably want to help you the best they can and will try their best to understand. Something else you can do, if that for whatever reason doesn't feel right, is writing about it. I used to write all the time. If I was feeling triggered by something, I would write about it. I would just spew whatever I was feeling out. And so that's also a great release and just a way to kind of get it out. Writing will never be a bad thing, and it's a great way to just express however you're feeling. Another great option that I want to talk about is a hotline, and one in particular I want to talk about Childhelp. Childhelp I mentioned briefly in my previous video, but they are an amazing charity and organization mainly focusing on child sexual abuse, and they have a hotline that is a great resource for people. You can call at anytime. It's completely 24/7. It is also completely anonymous, so there's no worries about that. And if you're feeling triggered by something, something's upsetting you, you just want to talk, anything, all of the above, they're such a great resource to call. They will sit and talk with you for as long as you need. So if you want a kind of guaranteed, safe, non-judgmental space to talk, that is a really amazing option, and I really think we should take advantage of that opportunity. So I'm gonna put their number right here on the screen, and I'm also going to link it down below so it's easy for you guys to find if you want to use it. So I hope this video could be helpful in any way, or at least was just a little bit more information about triggers. And if there is anything to do with this topic that you guys would like to see more videos on, please let me know. Just know that triggers are a completely normal experience. They will always pass and they are okay. You are okay. And I will see you in my next video. So thank you so much for watching this.